Okay, so I think we were last on chapter 3, and that was about Pippi playing tag with some policemen who I don't really think want to be playing tag with her. So they are trying to see if they can get Pippi to go to a children's home with them, which is kind of like an orphanage, because she's living without any parents, and they don't think she should be allowed to do that. So Pippi is now up on the roof. Yes, and down on the balcony are the two policemen, scratching their heads, and on the lawn stand Tommy and Annika, staring at Pippi. "Isn't it fun to play tag?" cried Pippi. "And weren't you nice to come over? It certainly is my lucky day, too." After the policemen had stood there for a while, wondering what they should do, they went and got a ladder, leaned it against one of the sides of the house, and then climbed up, first one policeman and then the other, to get Pippi down. They looked a little scared when they climbed out onto the ridgepole, which is the top edge of the roof, and carefully balancing themselves, went step by step towards Pippi. So, if we imagine that this is the roof, you know how a roof is shaped kind of like a triangle? If this is the roof, with the point at the top, then right along here is the ridgepole. So the ridgepole is the skinny little horizontal pole that goes along the top of a roof of a house. And that's what they have to balance on, like a balance beam, kind of. Okay. "But don't be scared," cried Pippi. "There's nothing to be afraid of. It's just fun." When the policemen were a few steps away from Pippi, down she jumped from the chimney and, screeching and laughing, ran along the ridgepole to the opposite side of the house. A few feet from the house there was a tree. "Now I'm going to dive," she cried, and jumped right down into the green crown of the tree, caught hold of a branch, swung back and forth for a while, and then let herself fall to the ground. Quick as a wink, she dashed around to the other side of the house and took away the policeman's ladder. The policeman had looked a little foolish when Pippi jumped off the roof, but they looked even more so when they had balanced themselves backward along the ridgepole and they were just about to climb down the ladder. And then, of course, they saw that it wasn't there anymore. At first they were very angry at Pippi, who stood on the ground, looking up at them. And they told her, in no uncertain terms, to get the ladder and be quick about it, or she would soon get something she wasn't looking for. "Why are you so cross at me?" asked Pippi reproachfully. "We're just playing tag, aren't we?" The policeman thought for a while, and at last one of them said, "Oh, come on, won't you be a good girl and put the ladder back so we can get down?" "Oh, of course I will," said Pippi, and put the ladder back instantly. "And when you get down here, we can all drink coffee and have a happy time." But the policemen were certainly sneaky, because the minute they were down on the ground again, they pounced on Pippi and cried, "Now you'll get it, you little brat." "Oh, no, I'm sorry. I haven't time to play any longer," said Pippi. "But it was fun." Then she took hold of the policemen by their belts and carried them down the garden path, out through the gate, and onto the street. There she set them down, and it was quite some time before they were ready to get up again. So here is Pippi, grabbing them by their belts, lifting them up, two big men, and carrying them by herself all the way down the path. She really is strong. "Oh, wait a minute," she cried, and ran into the kitchen and came back with 2 cookie hearts. "Would you like a taste?" she asked. "It doesn't matter that they are a little burned, does it?" Then Pippi went back to Tommy and Annika, who stood there wide-eyed and just couldn't get over what they had seen. And the policeman hurried back to the town and told all the ladies and gentlemen that Pippi wasn't quite fit for a children's home. They didn't tell that they had been up on the roof, I think because they were embarrassed about it. And the ladies and gentlemen in the town decided that it would be best, after all, to let Pippi stay in Villa Villicula, and if she wanted to go to school, then she could make the arrangements herself. But Pippi and Tommy and Annika had a very pleasant afternoon. They went back to their interrupted coffee party. Pippi stuffed herself with 14 cookies, and then she said, "They weren't what I mean by real policemen. No sirree. Altogether too much talk about children's homes and plutification in Lisbon." Remember, plutification is what Pippi thinks multiplication is. Afterward, Pippi lifted the horse down on the ground, and they rode on him, all three. At first, Annika was afraid and she didn't want to, but when she saw what fun Tommy and Pippi were having, she let Pippi lift her up on the horse's back. The horse trotted round and round in the garden, and Tommy sang "Here Come the Swedes" with a clang and a bang. When Tommy and Annika had gone to bed that night, Tommy said, "Annika, don't you think it's good that Pippi moved here?" "Oh, yes," said Annika. "I don't even remember what we used to play before she came. Do you?" "Oh, sure. We played croquet and things like that," said Annika. Croquet is kind of like a game that's a little like golf. "But it's lots more fun with Pippi around, I think, and with horses and things." And that's the end of Chapter 3. And in Chapter 4, we're going to see what it's like when Pippi tries going to school.